Manteo, North Carolina to Roanoke, Virginia, for an outdoor show where it's all about the weather. Getting there, playing, and getting home. Maybe this should be called the radar episode. It's life in the fast lane. I'm John Weisswasser, pilot and drummer for Eaglemania. Follow me as I explore the practical use of general aviation while I travel the country with the world's greatest tribute to the Eagles. This is Life in the Fast Lane. On this episode of Fast Lane, the band plays a large outdoor event at Dr. Pepper Park in Roanoke, Virginia in May of 2021, just as the world was waking up from the COVID pandemic. The day called for me being on site at around 4:15 for a sound check, a meet and greet at 7:30, and then a 90-minute show starting at 8 o'clock that night. I would be departing from Manteo on the Outer Banks of North Carolina for Roanoke's Regional, a Class C airport nestled at the foot of the Appalachian Mountains with good services and not so cheap fuel. The 1-hour flight out there had to be committed to by 9:30 a.m. given that the drive from the Outer Banks was at least 6 hours. This was definitely one of those trips where flying saved a tremendous amount of time. The overall weather was dominated by a stationary front over much of my route, with a trough to the south. The forecast for the day along my route was for showery activity in the morning and early afternoon, progressing to thunderstorms later in the day, which meant leaving earlier was better and that the show might get washed out. By 7 that morning, stuff was already beginning to fire up east of the mountains and in Roanoke's vicinity, so I wasn't keen on taking any chances, and therefore I committed to an early departure. The current conditions at 7 a.m. that morning were all favorable with VFR the entire way. Planning for a 9 a.m. departure, the route was free of any relevant air mets. The SIPVIP showed that I could expect some moderate to severe icing with the threat of supercooled large water droplets in the lower teens as I approached Roanoke, no doubt associated with the precipitation that was forecasted and that I was watching. Better to have it on the way down than on the way up, and the out would be to stay below the freezing level. The turbulence forecast was unremarkable. The TAF showed a pretty clear line where the marginal and IFR conditions began, just off to the west of a line marked out by the Appalachians. And the same was true for the Graphical convection forecast, which by the way I much prefer over the ECF product. There wasn't much as far as pilot reports, not a surprise given the time of day. So I went ahead and filed at flight level 220 using the 4-flight recommended route, which was pretty much direct. I checked the weather one more time just before I launched when I was at the airport. Some scattered clouds in the lower altitudes, and that batch of showery activity had moved off to the north.
99 Delta Alpha is cleared to Roanoke, is filed 3220
system test okay.
12472 5336, and I'll give you a call ready to taxi 9 Delta Alpha.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Read back correct. Take off runway 23.
Okay, on departure heading of 320 and up to 3000, clear for takeoff 239 Delta Alpha. Alright, 60 knots for 85, and up we go. Reach for the bars, gear up, landing light off, yaw damper on.
Piper 9 Delta Alpha, contact departure today.
Departure, so long, 9 Delta Alpha. Okay,
holding.
We're going to go heading of 320. Cherry Point departure, good morning, Meridian 929 Delta Alpha is 1000, climbing 3000, heading of 320.
Meridian 929 Delta Alpha, Cherry Point departure, roger, don't see yet, continue to climb up to 4000, should see you here soon.
Okay, Wilco 9 Delta Alpha up to, understand 4000.
Okay, firm down.
Funny how that little cell that was over Manteo wasn't there on the Nexrad from flight, but it's on the Sirius Nexrad.
Number 9 Delta Alpha, radar contact 5 miles to the west of Manteo, altitude 3,600, turn right, correction, district. November 9 Delta Alpha, climb maintain 10,000.
10,000, 9 Delta Alpha. For such a short flight, I still want to get as high as I can, but it's going to be the best way for me to identify and avoid any buildups.
9 Delta Alpha, just continue heading for a few more miles. There's a restricted area between you and Cofield, and once you could go direct, we'll get you going there.
Wilco, thank you, 9 Delta Alpha. Okay, so no other surprises.
November 9 Delta Alpha, climb maintain flight level 230.
Flight level 230, 9 Delta Alpha. I always set the altimeter on the PFD to standard once I'm cleared to the flight levels. That way I don't forget. Just as a reference, if I get leveled off between here and there, I always have my backup altimeter has the current altimeter.
November 9 Delta Alpha, proceed direct Cofield.
Direct Cofield, 9 Delta Alpha. All right, direct. Enter. Put it in nav mode. And now we're outside of this restricted area. Washington Center, good morning, Meridian 99 Delta Alpha, flight level 230, and we're direct Cofield.
November 929 Delta Alpha, Washington Center, welcome. Verify sign altitude, flight level 230.
Affirmative, 9 Delta Alpha.
November 929 Delta Alpha, what's your final requested altitude? Is it 23?
I actually requested flight level 220, but I'll take 240 or 220, whatever works for you, 9 Delta Alpha.
Number 929 Delta Alpha, roger. For now, just maintain flight level 230, stand by.
We'll go 9 Delta Alpha.
Number 929 Delta Alpha, descend to maintain flight level 220.
Down to 220, 9 Delta Alpha. Clearly filed for flight level 220.
Number 4, Echo Zulu, descend to maintain 17,000 at the Raleigh altimeter 29903.
Roanoke Ridge information X-ray, 12540 observation, wind 0105, visibility 10, ceiling 4,400 broken, 11000.
Level 715, climb maintain flight level 240.
Altimeter 290, level 715. High left turn right 34.
4 Echo Zulu, give me your best breakdown to 15,000.
Traffic, helicopter parking area, soft circle.
Okay.
All taxiway HLS non-standard.
Using the ILS to 34.
1634 and taxiway Alpha closed. Work in progress, grass cut.
Great. So
That's
let's
1058, Washington Center, welcome.
go ahead and configure for that.
PMOS 6020, I'm sorry, that was a little broken. Say it again.
Request direct the field for PMOS 6020.
PMOS 6020, you're looking for the ILS Zulu, correct?
I'm sorry, we can just go
the ILS to runway 34.
PMOS 6020, roger, clear direct to Greenville Airport.
Field, thanks.
Wash, Cessna 2246, echoes with you at 5,000.
Off of
Number 2246 Echo, Washington Center, welcome. The Elizabeth
And,
City
without
altimeter
the procedure
29903. Delta 1058,
numbers
climb and maintain flight level
are
230.
1810.
Yep. November 929 Delta Alpha, descend to maintain 16,000.
16,000, 9 Delta Alpha. Alright, so we're going to be landing on
November 54 X-ray, contact Washington Center,
before,
4.05.
and the FBO looks like it's right over there, just off
Washington Center 124.05, 54 X-ray.
Echo.
November 929 Delta Alpha, contact Washington Center, 124.05.
2405 so long, 9 Delta Alpha.
Yeah. No 141.
Washington Center, good morning, Meridian 929 Delta Alpha, flight level 207, descending 16,000.
November 929 Delta Alpha, Washington Center, Roger, good morning, Roanoke, altimeter 29907.
907, 9 Delta Alpha. Alright, so we have the ATIS. Our altimeters are both set to field. We've gone over our arrival. Set the pressurization to 500 feet above field elevation, which is 1,180. Lights are to go, and we've briefed the approach. It's our descent checklist. Alright, so these clouds currently our outside air temperature is -3. And these look a little juicy. We'll put on the prop and the stall heat. So go through this little layer. I can already see the ground beneath it. It's a quick layer, but part of our SOPs always have the prop and stall heat on. In visible moisture, they say when the outside air temperature is +5 -20, but I will tell you that I have seen ice develop at less than -20. I'm also going to slow down because I just have a feeling these are going to be a little bumpy. Usually icing occurs in the very tops of the clouds. Yeah, just a little trace. Okay, we know we can come off.
Number 9 Delta Alpha, be level at 1,000 in 2.5 minutes west, please.
Okay, we'll hustle down for you, 9 Delta Alpha. The way I like to do that is to put it in flight level change mode, so I'll peg the airspeed at my cruise, which is 172, and literally you can just idle the engine, and this airplane will go down at 2,500, 3,000 feet per minute. So we're doing 3,000 feet per minute. One of the nice things about a turboprop.
Number 9 Delta Alpha, thank you.
Anytime, 9 Delta Alpha. Roanoke approach, good morning, Meridian 929 Delta Alpha.
Vertical track.
With Yankee requests the ILS 34.
Meridian 929 Delta Alpha, Roanoke approach, altimeter 299.5, flighting 270, descend and maintain 6,000.
270, 6,000, 9 Delta Alpha. I can see the extended center line of the runway is here, and he wants us at 6,000. And
Liberty 132 for now. Yeah, you're number 3.
Initial descent. I mean, the initial altitude is about 3,800 feet, so I'm expedite my descent. Plus, there's a little buildup over there, so if we end up being below that, I know it's going to be bumpy.
Southeast,
so it'd be nice to turbulence. So it'd be nice to be slower and get the out of the way early. So I'm sort of hustling down to 6,000. The patient that he'll give me 4,000.
Liberty 132, 6 miles southeast to Kilby, maintain 3,000 until established, cleared ILS runway 4 from the 10 DME yard. Liberty 199, VFR target, 1 o'clock, 2 miles southbound, Skyhawk, I believe it's Skyhawk, indicates 3,000. Tower 901, you on frequency? Scout 4901, Roanoke approach.
Approach 9 Delta Alpha, did you want me through the course?
2 miles westbound, indicates 2,600. Number 9 Delta Alpha, sorry about that. Turn left heading of 120.
120 left, 9 Delta Alpha.
November 9 Delta Alpha, 5 south of Vinton, turn left heading 360, maintain 4,000 until established, cleared ILS runway 34.
360 and 4,000 until established, cleared for the ILS, 9 Delta Alpha.
Meridian 9 Delta Alpha, contact tower 118.3.
Tower, thank you, 9 Delta Alpha, so long. And Roanoke Tower, Meridian 929 Delta Alpha is outside Vin.
Meridian 929 Delta Alpha, Roanoke Tower, wind 0503, runway 34, clear to land.
Clear to land 34, 9 Delta Alpha. Okay. slowing down. Alright, and we're waiting for glide path to capture, which it did. Glide slope, sorry. And now we can drop the gear. Degrees of flaps, manual. Oh. Low flaps 2. Gonna add another notch of flaps. Manual. Lights, flaps, 3 green. Pressurization is 0, or coming down. A little city just nestled in mountains. Bunch of obstacles. Oh, I don't think I want to leave out of here at night. We'll go 1 more notch. We have full flaps, final check, manual, lights, full flaps, 3 green. And our differential pressure is down to 0. We have 300 to go before minimums, and the runway appears clear.
00 Charlie.
Minimums.
Stampton S5,
Okay.
flight heading 030.
Off the
Maintain
autopilot.
5,000.
500.
This venue, Dr. Pepper Park, is something that I created. It's a local community venue. It's supported by sponsorship and the support of ticket buyers here in the Roanoke Valley. And I created it to really fill a niche because nobody was doing what we're doing.
That's Waynette Anderson, the powerhouse behind the venue. And once I met her, I knew we were going to get lucky with the rain. Something about her positive energy made me confident that the night wouldn't be a wash.
And the thing is, like, we want to play, right? Because we haven't played in a while, so there's that part of it. But, I mean, there's a couple $100,000 worth of equipment up here on stage and in front of us, and some serious voltage, so this could be bad. This could be bad. Waiting for the rain to stop on Sunday. I hate playing when it's wet like this and rainy and sticky and there's this.
Yeah. As the afternoon wore on, our luck changed for the better, and things started to look a lot brighter. These were clearly some die-hard Eagles fans, and no amount of rain was going to stop them from enjoying some outdoor entertainment, especially after being locked up for COVID for so long.
How's it been, like, coming back out of COVID?
Well, we never went in. We took, there was about a month off, and then we just went for it. I mean, we had a lot of bands canceled, but we had a lot of people that wanted to work, and so we followed some strict guidelines. Didn't have any cases tracked back to us, and did a wonderful job. Of course, we're outdoors, and it's very safe. So today is the first day of all the restrictions being lifted in the state of Virginia, so we're really excited about that.
That's great.
Big season. Marshall Tucker Band, 38 Special, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and lots of tribute artists as well, which are always my favorite days because, like, it's really high talent but low egos and nice to deal with.
All of you guys were just so freaking awesome. I loved it.
You guys are such a great crowd. A lot of energy.
I felt like I taught my daughters right.
Okay, now for the trip back. I knew from my prep the days leading up to the weekend that the issue for the return was the possibility of convective activity associated with the trough to the north that would become an issue in the late morning and afternoon. So I aimed to be wheels up at the very rock and roll time of 7 a.m. When I briefed the flight an hour before departure, both ends were VFR with some low-lying scud in between, which wasn't going to be a factor. The TAFs reflected the possibility of marginal conditions on departure and the likelihood of thunderstorms starting at around 2 p.m. over the Outer Banks. But there was already a convective segment in place for an area just north of my destination, with more to come as the morning wore on. The Nexrad loop showed the showery activity associated with the southwesterly flow. But if you look closely, you could see that these showers had tops in the mid-20s, which meant that they were already convective and to be avoided as far as I'm concerned. The forecast icing potential called for moderate icing in the high teens and low flight levels, which I was confident could be avoided by staying out of cumulus buildups along the route. The turbulence forecast was benign. I'm always impressed with how much better the graphical forecast tool on ADDS is at predicting convection than the TCF or the ECFP. Here you could see why I was up so early, whereas the TCF, which unfortunately I didn't capture this time, was completely empty. You could also see where the scud was and where it wasn't, and what my options would be if it became an issue. So, I went ahead and filed the 4-flight suggested routing for a flight to Dare County at 25,000 feet and went to the airport.
929 Delta Alpha is cleared to Manteo is filed. Right turn on departure heading 070. Climb maintain 5,000. Expect 25010, 126.9 and 4665 9 Delta Alpha.
Meridian 99 Delta Alpha, read back correct.
Roanoke Tower, Meridian 99 Delta Alpha, flown up short of 34, ready for departure.
Meridian 99 Delta Alpha, tower 12904, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 349 Delta Alpha.
Niagara 1260, tower 12904, runway 34, clear to land.
Clear to land 34, Night Cargo 1260.
Bus 875, contact Wash Center 124.05. Meridian 9 Delta Alpha, contact departure.
Departure, thank you, 9 Delta Alpha, so long. Roanoke departure, good morning, Meridian 99 Delta Alpha is 2,100, climbing 5,000, right heading 070.
Meridian 99 Delta Alpha, departure, ready to contact, climb maintain 10,000.
10,000, 9 Delta Alpha.
It became clear early on that the weather to be avoided was already here, and that my routing was going to need to be adjusted some to penetrate the line of early storms that crossed my route.
Meridian 9 Delta Alpha, direct South Boston.
Direct South Boston, 9 Delta Alpha.
Meridian 929 Delta Alpha, contact Wash Center 124.05.
2405, have a good day, 9 Delta Alpha.
Good day.
Meridian 929 Delta Alpha is 6,500, climbing 10,000, direct South Boston.
29 Delta Alpha, launch center, good morning. The Roanoke altimeter is 2977. Now I'll have a further climb here before it's too long.
Okay, 2977, thank you, 9 Delta Alpha.
Roger, and do you want to go direct RMAC or Manteo?
I think for now, just direct RMAC. That'll help avoid some of the restricted area, and I may have to deviate for the weather on the way, so that'll be good for now.
29 Delta Alpha, clear direct RMAC, and we'll get back to you, or let me know about the deviations when you get farther southeast.
We'll go 9 Delta Alpha, direct to RMAC.
Alright, thank you. Bruno.
They just gave me flight level 230 as a final, which is a little disappointing. We'll see. Important thing is to get on top of all this and see if I can get a visual on to avoid.
Exit 310.
Otherwise, we're going to be stuck using the radar. And here's my concern.
American 400, Washington, roger. Climb level 270.
If I have any doubt, I'm going to head down towards
American 400, climb
Raleigh.
level 270.
try to cross over here.
It didn't take long for that to happen.
Clouds. I asked for a deviation.
Center, come and maintain flight level 220.
So I asked to go south towards Henderson Airport, which should be around the more intense of the weather.
Yeah,
and a climb to 25,000.
November 9 Delta Alpha, contact Washington Center 127.75.
2775, thank you, 9 Delta Alpha.
JetBlue 2952, contact Raleigh approach.
Washington Center, good morning, Meridian 929 Delta Alpha is flight level 250, and we're direct to Henderson, then Armac, request flight level 270 for 9 Delta Alpha.
9 Delta Alpha, Washington.
At this point, the audio connection must have slipped a little, and I lost all the intercom and radio audio. Of course, it had to happen during the most interesting part of the whole weekend as far as the flying was concerned. So, I'm going to go ahead and have to narrate this. At this point, my strategy was to stay as high as I could for as long as I could in order to either top the weather or stay as visual as possible in order to avoid the buildups. In those situations where I couldn't stay visual, I relied on the radar in order to make sure that I wasn't venturing into anything convective. At those altitudes, to be honest, any returns on the radar are to be avoided. Just think about the amount of energy it takes to launch any amount of water 27,000 feet up into the atmosphere. The proper way to use the radar is an art all unto itself, which I can try to explain. I won't go into the science or the math of it, but just focus on the actual operation of it. It's useful to think of the radar like a flashlight that can sweep horizontally or vertically. And when the swing is horizontal, you can tilt the plane in which it scans up and down. And similarly, you can adjust the bearing in which it scans when it's in vertical mode. The tilt is all relative, so it's not like 0 degrees of tilt corresponds to a plane that is completely parallel to the surface. And this is because the airplane varies its pitch depending on what is being asked of it in terms of weight and speed or climbing and descending. Also, the Garmin GWX-68, which is what I'm equipped with, does best on a 40 nautical mile range. As far as doing the math, the beam width is 10 degrees, so the further out the range, the larger the mass of air that's being scanned. The first step is to identify the ground return, which in a non-mountainous, non-urban, terrain-based region is accomplished by tilting the radar down until you see a continuous return in the outer third or so of the screen. I didn't show that here. I actually did it beforehand, but there you have it. Then, in order to scan from your current position ahead and slightly down, I adjust the tilt upwards by about 1 degree for every 10,000 feet of altitude. One way to tell if what you're looking at on the Nexrad is convective or just heavy rain is to use the Stormscope, which is what I'm doing here, which is what gave me comfort to cross those yellow Nexrad returns. So my strategy for navigating weather is this. I use the Nexrad to give me the big picture and answer some basic questions, like, can this line of weather actually be penetrated safely, or is it too deep and complicated to attempt? Nexrad can also really help with developing a strategy to plan geographically how to navigate around the bulk of it. Then, it's a matter of doing my absolute best to stay visual. And this is not only far superior than having to rely on the radar, but also keeps me out of any buildups which can contain ice or turbulence. One of my mentors once told me that any buildups taller than 23,000 feet should be considered convective. In other words, stay away from them. My corollary to that is that I will not fly in cumulus clouds above 12,000 feet. Sometimes, however, you can't stay visual, like on this flight. Sometimes there's a stratus layer that obscures the buildups, or you might have benign weather punctuated by storms at lower altitudes, in which case you can't see and avoid. And it's in those situations that I use the radar to stay away from storms. Here's another example I shot from my iPhone from over the summer on the return from a trip to Utah, and I was at flight level 290. there was a line of weather extending from top to bottom of the country just west of the Appalachians. In this instance, I was able to find a spot between a pair of cells that had enough distance between them and nothing serious on the other side that I could navigate around them, so I aimed for that. In this case, the radar was truly unnecessary since I was visual, but I'm always looking for opportunities to practice with it, and this was no exception. It's important to note that the colors on Nexrad and the radar do not denote the same level of intensities of the returns. What's green on the radar is yellow or worse on the Nexrad. Here you can see this little cell on the radar that's painting a little bit of yellow. But when you look at the Nexrad, there are hints of red and some strikes. Also, notice how late the Nexrad is in painting what's out there. If you just followed the Nexrad blindly, you'd end up in one of these. And here I am going through that hole. Not a single whiff of turbulence. The only thing that can make this particularly difficult is if you're in airspace where you can't have the latitude to do whatever you want as far as deviations, like in the Northeast or Florida. The other thing is that I wouldn't try doing this at night, but having the right gear and knowing how to use it is key. I'm still constantly learning, and it's this kind of flying that I find the most exciting. Back to my return from Roanoke. You can see I'm through the line of weather, but because I'm not visual, I'm backing up what I see on Nexrad with the radar. And now that I'm through, I allowed them to descend me. Again, the nice thing about a turboprop is that it will descend very quickly if you need it to. And from there, it was a straightforward approach and landing at Manteo. Again, apologies for the audio. Of course, it had to happen at the most interesting part of the flight. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.